Plural Kids Story Time by ChanJlingHerd. Hi, my name is Will. I'm one of the adults who spends a lot of time with the kids. I'm going to read There's No Such Thing as a Dragon, Story and Pictures by Jack Kent. There's No Such Thing as a Dragon by Jack Kent. Billy Bixby was rather surprised when he woke up one morning and found a dragon in his room. It was a small dragon, about the size of a kitten. The dragon wagged its tail happily when Billy patted its head. Billy went downstairs to tell his mother. "There's no such thing as a dragon," said Billy's mother, and she sounded like she meant it. Billy went back to his room and began to dress. The dragon came close to Billy and wagged its tail, but Billy didn't pat it. If there's no such thing as something, it's silly to pat it on its head. To pat it on the head. Billy washed his face and hands and went down to breakfast. The dragon went along. It was bigger now, almost the size of a dog. Billy sat down on the table. The dragon sat down on the table. This sort of thing was not usually permitted, but there wasn't much Billy's mother could do about it. She had already said there was no such thing as a dragon, and if there's no such thing, you can't tell it to get down off the table. Mother made some pancakes for Billy, but the dragon ate them all. Mother made some more, but the dragon ate those too. Mother kept making pancakes until she ran out of batter. Billy only got one of them, but he said that's all he really wanted anyway. Billy went upstairs to brush his teeth. Mother started cleaning the table. The dragon, who was quite as big as Mother by this time, made himself comfortable on the hall rug and went to sleep. By the time Billy came back downstairs, the dragon had grown so much he filled the hall. Billy had to go around by way of the living room to get to where his mother was. "I didn't know dragons grew so fast," said Billy. "There's no such thing as a dragon," his mother said firmly. Cleaning the downstairs took Mother all morning, what with the dragon in the way and having to climb in and out of windows to get from room to room. By noon, the dragon filled the house. Its head hung out the front door, its tail hung out the back door, and there wasn't a room in the house that didn't have some part of the dragon in it. When the dragon awoke from his nap, he was hungry. A bakery truck went by. The smell of fresh bread was more than the dragon could resist. The dragon ran down the street after the bakery truck. The house went along, of course, like the shell on a snail. The mailman was just coming up the path with some mail for the Bixbys when their house rushed past him and headed down the street. He chased the Bixby's house for a few blocks, but he couldn't catch it. When Mr. Bixby came home for lunch, the first thing he noticed was that the house was gone. Luckily, one of the neighbors was able to tell him which way it went. Mr. Bixby got in his car and went looking for the house. He studied all the houses as he drove along. Finally, he saw one that looked familiar. Billy and Mrs. Bixby were waving from an upstairs window. Mr. Bixby climbed over the dragon's head, onto the porch roof, and through the upstairs window. "How did this happen?" Mr. Bixby asked. "It was the dragon," said Billy. "There's no such thing," Mother started to say. "There is a dragon," Billy insisted. "A very big dragon." And Billy patted the dragon on the head. The dragon wagged its tail happily. Then, even faster than it had grown, the dragon started getting smaller. Soon, it was kitten-sized again. "I don't mind dragons this size," said Mother. "Why did it have to grow so big?" "I'm not sure," said Billy, "but I think it just wanted to be noticed." "Hi, my name is Sune. I'm one of the kids. I really like the book, There's No Such Thing as a Dragon, because it is about a dragon, but also about a lot of other things. I shared this book with one of my friends in a different system one night when they were talking about how sometimes it is hard to deal with things when you don't know if they are real. They really liked it too, so I wanted to share it with y'all too. Because sometimes it is hard to remember that the things that happen in your life are real if they don't happen in the outside life. For me, that means if they don't happen in our adult life. I think that this book can be about being plural or other mental health issues, because a lot of the time, if you just pay attention and give it what it needs, it isn't actually a problem. I know that it isn't always as easy as patting a dragon on the head, because I personally used to be really, really depressed. So sometimes in order to take care of something, you need help. Sometimes help from your system family, sometimes help from your outside family and friends, or sometimes help from herbs or medicines. But I've learned that even if it is a hard problem, like a dragon running away with your house, if you work together and notice what is actually happening, not what the outside world says, then with time, you can be happier with your real inside life. Hi, my name is Nawa. I'm one of the kids. I'm going to read Amy Lou and the Patchwork Dragon. Story by Kat Zhang, illustrated by Amy Wu, and the Patchwork Dragon by Kat Zhang, illustrated by Charlene Schwa. During story time, Ms. Mary reads Amy's class a book about dragons. Dragons that hoard treasure. Dragons that blow fire. Dragons that fight knights in gleaming armor. Afterward, she tells everyone to make their own dragons. Make them special, she says. Make them yours. Sam draws a dragon with enormous teeth. He crafts the wings from postage stamps. Willa sculpts a dragon with a big fat belly. She strings daisies for the tail. Amy paints a dragon with a long, thin body. It has horns like a stag and claws like an eagle. Are you sure that's a dragon? Asked Sam. It doesn't look like a dragon, adds Willa. Amy says, maybe they're right. Amy scribbles with her pencil and doodles with her crayons. She glues beads to the paper and some to her hair. Bits of dragons emerge. Dragons with shiny green scales. Dragons with leathery wings. They look great. They look just like the dragons in Ms. Mary's book. But none of them work. None of them feel quite right. These dragons are not the dragons Amy wanted to make. Time to clean up, says Ms. Mary. I'm not done, cries Amy. The rest of the class put their dragons on the show and tell table, but there's nothing from Amy. Nothing at all. Willa and Sam come over after school, but Amy can't even smile. Oh dear, says Amy's grandma. Why the sad face? So Amy tells her. Her grandma gets a twinkle in her eye. Come, she says, let me tell you a story. She tells them about dragons that bring down the rain. Dragons that are wise and just. Dragons that fly without wings. Amy runs to the attic. She remembers where she got the idea for her dragon. She pulls out something red and yellow, something with a big fat snout and golden horns. A dragon, gasp Sam and Willa. A dragon, agrees Amy. Amy's grandma puts on the costume's head and Amy puts on the tail. Together they dance down the attic steps and roar through the house. Maybe you can bring it to school, says Sam. Please, please bring it to school, begs Willa. Says Amy. She thinks about the dragons in Miss Mary's book. She thinks about the dragons in Grandma's story. Bringing this dragon to class would be great. But there's something missing. Something to make the dragon Amy's. After Sam and Willa go home, Amy begins to plan. She shows her sketches to her family. Will you help me? She asks. They measure out fabric and cut it into shape. They carve a cardboard frame and fasten the cloth. Amy knots together 3 silk scarves. Then she adds some beads and some glitter and a little more glitter just because. Ready? Asks Grandma. Amy takes a deep breath. Ready, she says. Amy comes to school with a big paper bag. The other children gather around. Is it your dragon? Asks Willa. Show us, cries Sam. Amy puts on the dragon's head. She invites Willa and Sam beneath the dragon's tail. Together they dance through the classroom and roar between the desks. Everybody cheers. Miss Mary laughs so hard she can't even breathe. Amy's dragon is red and yellow. It has a big fat snout and golden horns. It has enormous green wings and a tail of 3 silk scarves. And beads and glitter. Lots of glitter. It works splendidly. It feels just right. It is exactly the dragon Amy wanted to make. This is still Nawa. I like a lot of things about this story. One is that the grandma's hair is pink. Another is that in the last page, you can see that even though Amy needed more time to figure out her dragon and help to make it, it turned out to be the best. This is Tanuki. I am also one of the kids. I think it is really interesting the way the book shows how different home life can be from school life, but Amy can make them work together. Even though she only learns about one kind of dragon at school, her grandma helps her learn about other dragons. Just like in the first story, I think this can be about dragons or other things too. Like, for Amy, it is about dragons, but also culture and heritage. And her grandma helps her learn more about their family stories. For us, it is about culture, but not heritage. We have a plural, queer, and earth-centric culture for our system family that is really different from many of the outside cultural forces. So, this book is like a reminder that it is okay for your family stories to be different from the outside stories, and for us kids to take outside stories and inside stories and put them together in the way that is best for us. Credits. There's No Such Thing as a Dragon by Jack Kent. Bookshop.com link. Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon by Kat Zhang, illustrated by Charlotte Chua. Bookshop link. Kat Zhang reading link. Charlotte Chua conversation link. Will and Nawa reading. Sune, Nawa, and Tanuki sharing thoughts. Phoenix behind the scenes help.